and over the moon.
Welcome to the Landing Strip with Nick Lynham and Mikey Garcia, presented by From Financial.
Welcome back to the Landing Strip after an afternoon doozy from the 27th and 29th place hockey clubs. The Unstoppable Force, Winnipeg's 424 road points percentage, versus the Immovable Object, New York Rangers 375 home point percentage, which you can certainly see why after a game like that. These were the last two President's Trophy winning teams, folks. And I don't know if you could tell watching that hockey game. And we got all the extra time we could handle as they made sure to take this all the way to a shootout tonight. Eric Comry, 6 straight wins, all of which he has not allowed 3 goals or more. Really impressive run for Eric Comry, who, I'm going to say it, has been the better of their 2 goalies. If you're serious about a playoff race, maybe this guy should be playing more. He looked absolutely dialed today. A night, Gabe Velarde puts up 2 points and the shootout winner to put this one away. Adam Lowry breaks a 24-game goalless streak with a great goal. Thought the top line, especially Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor, Curry and Gretzky, I thought had actually a quality game. We'll talk about that. Even the fact that they didn't get on the board tonight. This was closer to the Curry Gretzky stuff that we hear they are. Let's get into all of it on an afternoon affair between the lowly Rangers and lowly Jets. That brings the Jets, at least momentarily, folks, 3 points away from a playoff spot. And it adds more teams to the pool of teams now we're cheering for wins, looking at the standings and where these lottery odds are going to start falling. Mikey, how are you doing?
Morning games are tough on me. I'm going to need something to wake me up. And they've been few and far between this year, but it's something we do for a win. So this will help wake me up for sure. Let's hit it. That's got to get you fired up, and I guess the fan base is fired up after that one as well, because I see the phone lines are already starting to light up, and we haven't even gotten through the intro yet. So this is going to be a fun show, I can already tell, and let's get into it. Only a few points out of the playoffs now. That's incredible.
Yeah, the Jets do not jump anybody quite yet. They come into a tie with San Jose, who has multiple. I think it's 2 games at hand.
2 games.
Leaving today.
Yep.
So they're technically ahead from a points percentage perspective. They're going to be running up on Toronto here. They actually might pass Toronto. No, Toronto's got the extra point, sorry.
Yep.
On points percentage. A little confused there. It's getting tight. It's getting tight in those standings. It's a winning night, though. We got to play the sack squirrel. Who is your anti-tank commander as the Winnipeg Jets beat the New York Rangers on Sunday morning?
It was for me, this choice is easy like Sunday morning, and it's Eric Comry. He kept the Jets in that one as these 2 bottom 6 teams, really laid siege to each other here. This was an absolute war by 2 real quality hockey teams that have just, I don't know how, have somehow found themselves in the bottom 6 of the league, but, that can't really be the case. So this had to have been 2 good teams slugging it out, really fighting for it. And, without Eric Comry, the Jets don't win that game against just what's a real quality Rangers team, right? They're a good squad, I think.
I did enjoy learning today that it was a big game for at least one of these teams.
Oh, one of these teams has a lot to play for, and one doesn't. What is this? Like one brother tells the truth and the other one always lies? What are we talking about? They're separated by one team. They are separated by one team in the standings. These are two bottom six teams. What do you mean one has a lot to play for? Which one?
And at the time of the comment, they were closer in points than either team was to a playoff spot. Now that changes with the way this game ended, but I thought that was funny to hear live today. That was a new one for a bottom six team to find out.
And to be honest, right, it's not 3 points out of a playoff spot in actuality, right? The NHL doesn't have a balanced timing for the schedule. Teams have games in hand. It feels disingenuous, you know what I mean, to always be like, oh, they're only like 4 points away when it's really they're 4 or 5 teams in between them, and those 4 points, quote unquote, are actually like 8 points when you consider the winning percentages and all that. So like, yeah, technically, sure, at this moment the line is there, but it's in reality they're much closer to that bottom spot than they are that playoff line.
Yeah, they're getting really close to the mushy middle here too, unfortunately. Parmaline points out too, technically, the Jets are 4 points behind the Preds when you consider they don't have the regulation win tiebreaker.
Yep.
That is an important note. As we talked about last show, Nashville had picked that up and taken a step there. On the Anti-Tank Commander Awards, Rihanna says, my anti-tank is a tie. The White Cage comms locked in, and Velarde and Casey actually scoring in the shootout. Shootout's been a hot topic in Winnipeg.
Yep.
And the Jets go 2 for 2 on great goals from Kyle Connor and Gabe Velarde. This Eric Comrie White Cage thing is honestly pretty incredible.
He found the hack.
He found the hack, and it was changing the color of his cage.
Yep.
He looked absolutely dialed today. Like, outside just winning a game in 6 straight, he was tracking everything really well today.
Yep.
I was very confident in Eric Comrie.
Yeah.
Watching what developed. He gets beat. That Zibanejad bomb is like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But he came up time and time again where he is all over tracking the puck. He's there ahead of the shooter, ahead of the pass, of the one-timer. I'm genuinely impressed, unfortunately for the tank, but Eric Comrie's become the biggest anti-tank commander for the Winnipeg Jets, and it's since putting on that white cage. So much so I genuinely believe we should be seeing split starts here between him and Connor Hellebuyck if you're serious about trying to get into a playoff spot. Eric Comrie's been the better goalie.
Yeah.
He's the anti-tank commander.
Absolutely. If you look at his last 6 starts, right, winning all 6 of those games, even if you cut down half of those, right, if you went 500 in those games, those are 6 huge points that are, a massive swing in the lower direction. And if it was a real meritocracy, you'd be hearing calls for Eric Comrie to get an extra start or two here. Hellebuyck hasn't been all that sharp. He's let in at least kind of one soft goal every game. We've talked about the, 876 save percentage, the 787 save percentage. There's been, a little bit of a dip in play there. And if it was a real hunt for the playoffs and a real meritocracy where people earn their spots like the Jets love to talk about, then yeah, there would be calls for Comrie to get an extra game or two here to see if, he's actually found something, at least a bit of a hot streak. Goalies go on hot streaks. It's a well-known thing. Backup goalies can do it. Yeah, if they were really serious about it, you'd be hearing for it, but you're not going to because they're not actually.
And Eric Comrie, 27 of 29 today for a 931. Real impressive stuff.
Yep.
Over on Twitch, Choices points out that was a bad hockey game. 2 bad teams, boring hockey. Rangers' 3rd worst home winning percentage in 100 years as a franchise.
Yep.
Another anti-tank commander, or the tank commander from Small McFlurry. The tank commander was the ref that called that penalty on Scheifele in OT. Let's go to the controversial call, and we'll dive through different topics here as we go along. I thought Scheifele, this was one of his best games in a bit here. I thought he was real in control. Came close a few times. Silky move in the 3rd period that doesn't end up going to goal. And I was thinking they were coming down and scoring at that point. And he gets called on an interference on Vlad Gavrikov. What'd you think of that call? And then what'd you think, God damn it, of the Rangers 4-on-3? Absolutely horrendous.
So bad.
4-on-3 for the New York Rangers after that call.
One of the worst power plays that I've ever seen somebody try to run. That was absolutely just terrible by the Rangers. The penalty, yeah, it was a little soft. I could see why the Ranger fans might be kind of pissed off at that one. Lowry in the postgame talked about how, the players were a little bit more upset at the non-call before that than the Scheifele call itself. And I kind of agree with that stance, to be totally honest. I don't know. I feel like we got away with one earlier on in the game anyways. Calls kind of balance out. The Scheifele one, it's whatever. But yeah, the non-call maybe before that, I think was a little bit more egregious than the Scheifele one.
David Shore will pick up the phone at the halfway point. Let us get there. The phone lines open up after the From Financial Faceoff segment. We will get there. Don't you worry. And we will be picking up the phone. But I thought that was a terrible call. Vlad Gavrikov sells it completely. And then absolutely embarrassing from the Rangers to not create any type of luck. Their only shot on a 4-on-3 comes from like the goal line from David Trocheck. But yeah, Gavrikov clearly sees Scheifele's lane and totally sells it. I didn't like that call at all. Then I thought Scheifele was going to come out of the box and end this game. He gets the last shot of the game at the buzzer. Doesn't go. Speaking of low IQ, though, in that same 3-on-3, delayed call, would you not rather a 4-on-3 than a 5-on-4 for like 40 seconds?
Right? What are we doing? What was happening?
I couldn't believe that they just milked the clock.
Yeah. I'm screaming at the television going, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop it. Stop. What are you doing? Do they just not know? Is it just instinct at that point? They're not thinking about it? Is nobody screaming from the bench?
Yeah. Didn't understand that one at all. Going more through the chat here before diving into some of the game. Archivist Athletic says Comry does need to be sent down to the Moose. He's looking too good. Toba Cards also asks, on the topic of overtime and shootout here, did Taves and Gus's missed attempts yesterday bump their career average down below Connor and Velarde? Question mark. Why were they not shooting today? We want our best guys going.
Actually, with the Nyquist one, it definitely did. Scott Arniel came out with it yesterday and he was like, oh yeah, he's high 40s. It's, that's why he was 37, Gabe's 36. Like, they're the same. It was the same number. So I was going to ask you, who was the message sent to today with the shooters? Is there any
there was no message.
No message?
Sawyer agreed with me on the message thing, actually. I don't think Sawyer would go out of his way to say anything like that. It was a bit of a message.
Yep.
Might have cost him a point, but hey, I'll take it.
Yep.
Mr. Meow, we must says, is the tank done? Time to just cheer for the Jets. Oh, the tank isn't even close to done, buddy. Holy smokes.
Nowhere near.
Not even close. We got 12 games here. The toughest schedule of all the games we're talking about. We jumped a whole 2% today to a 7% playoff odds with projected points of 83, which has us somewhere between 5th and 7th last in the NHL. Yeah. No, it is not done yet.
No,
we got 2 games against Colorado this week alone. Let's settle down here, folks. They got to jump 4 teams in that 3 points. Nashville playing right now with the regulation wins tiebreaker with the head start on the Jets. LA's got a game later. That Pacific Division's garbage, but you don't have me there anywhere close to there yet. I'm good not seeing this team get pumped by Colorado in the first round this year, or Dallas maybe now, with how Dallas has picked things up.
Yeah.
No. Mr. Meow, we must. No.
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
The Jets needed an all-time performance out of Eric Comrie to beat the New York Rangers, who are absolutely atrocious, with one of the worst winning percentages at home that they've, like Choice has pointed out, in over 100 years. It's a really bad Rangers team. It took everything they had to beat that Rangers team. They got pumped by this Rangers team not that long ago, 6-3. It's no, don't worry. They're not making it up that far. The worst that could happen at this point is they end up in that mushy middle and drafting 8th or something like that.
I love how this happens all the time. As Jay Miller says, God dang, another tough watch. 100% a tough watch this afternoon. And Rylan Medwick says, we don't control our own destiny.
Correct.
It's nowhere close to over until we go on a 5-game heater. Because
Even
Silly
then.
Stahl wants to jump back in here. He was pushing the limits yesterday. Says, how are you feeling now? 3 points out. He. When you factor in the games the teams they have to jump, the fact that Jets have the toughest schedule, and the fact that they're only beating teams under them for this calendar year. Come on, folks. You're going to have to wait a little longer if you want to own me with this kind of point in my chat here. Like, come on here.
Yep.
Jeez.
I won't go over it super heavy because I said it yesterday, but the Jets have wins over only 6 teams currently in a playoff spot total in the entire season, and they have 4 total wins against playoff teams in all of 2026. This is not a good team. They only beat up on the teams, the 5 or 6 teams below them and the LA Kings. Outside of that, they can't hang with anybody. No one in the Pacific, even though they're all terrible right now, they still don't have wins over the playoff Pacific teams. Like, it's just, it's not realistic. Unfortunately, this team still stinks.
Yes. As Tico Napoli says, the Jets almost got goalied by a rookie in his debut.
Yeah.
And Silly Saul says, now imagine if we can get 1 or 2 points out of things would have gone our way the last 2 weeks. Imagine if they didn't tie games in the last minute 3 times in the last 2 weeks and got 0 points. Like, if you play the what-if game, it's not going to go your way because the what-ifs go against the Jets a lot more this season than not. I'm sorry. Just not reality. And the fact that they beat the Avs, the game a couple weeks ago, where Helly stood on his head, and we talked about it, is not indicative of them beating them in a 7-game season. Hell, 2 years ago when they got Colorado in the first round, they won the season series, and they won the last game before the playoffs, 7-1 against that Colorado team. Can we live in the real world with what we're watching? We watch them struggle to get over the New York Rangers. The New York Rangers. The last President's Trophy team before the Winnipeg Jets. Maybe that's where we should think about and connect the dots here is the Rangers were a President's Trophy team 2 years ago.
Yep.
And look where they are. And it wasn't just a blip for them. That's the comparisons we should take out of this game. Not this idea that all of a sudden we could beat the Colorado Avalanche. So that's where it is. We'll keep it going here. This was a better game, I thought, from the Winnipeg Jets top line. Finally, a type of game I think Curry and Gretzky can be proud of, despite the fact they don't get on the score sheet. 15-30 at 5-on-5. Outshot attempt their minutes 20-9. Expected goals, they ran an 88%. They just did not get on the board. We saw Mark Scheifele, I thought specifically, was really driving the bus on that line. His puck touches, his efforts, his back checks to create turnovers and go the other way. You see Kyle Connor chase down a Mark Scheifele play at center and end up with a 2-1-0 towards the end of that game. He doesn't score. Kyle Connor himself draws 2 power plays today. Mark Scheifele draws 1. And they end up scoring. The Gabe Vilardi goal comes on the power play that Kyle Connor drew. What'd you see from Curry and Gretzky tonight? Was this a better effort in your mind than what we've been seeing from the inseparable duo? What do you think about the top duo in their big minutes at MSG this afternoon?
It's kind of the inverse of what we've seen from them most of the season, to be honest. This was, a really solid effort, a good way of controlling the play a lot of the game, but just not being able to score, which is crazy. That's usually the opposite of what we see from our golden duo. They beat up on a bad New York Rangers team. They they won their matchups handily all night long. That's good. Like you would, again, in a season that's not this season, in a season where this is a playoff team and they're in a spot or actually in a hunt and all that stuff, you would go, yeah, they beat up on a bad team. That's what you would expect out of your 2 best players to carry you through. And yeah, they didn't score, but it was a good, underlying game. That'd be great. You'd be real thrilled about that. In a lost season, it doesn't amount to a whole hell of a lot to me, to be totally honest. We know what Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor, we know what their ceiling is. We know what their floor is. We know what they bring. It's good that they had a good game. Too bad they didn't score to, keep that hunt for 100. Although I really liked Gabe Vilardi's answer in the postgame when they asked him about hitting his career high in goals now.
Yeah.
He said he didn't really care about that, that, he's just kind of focused on the team thing and that it's his job to produce. And that he's just, going to keep kind of working at it. That's just kind of what I'm looking at from all of the forwards, to be honest, that aren't the kids where we're still trying to figure out what they are and what they bring. just kind of looking to see if they're going to just kind of continue on with good play. And yeah, it was good from the top line today, but I don't know. I'm just, the fact that we still are talking about how they're staple gun to each other this late into a season like this is crazy to me. And I'm kind of spent on it. I don't know what else to even offer with those two anymore, you know?
Yeah, they always seem to show up at MSG, actually.
Yeah.
That seems to be the bright lights, a point that they come and play their best.
Yep,
that
absolutely.
team isn't anything impressive, but I did think they were the best Winnipeg Jets, and I haven't thought that in some time. So I did want to point it out on this night.
Definitely.
You want to see what Nik thinks a good top line looks like? That type of performance versus the Rangers. Now, we've watched them for how many years now? Yep. And they will likely not follow it up with a performance like that. But on an afternoon like this, did want to point that out. And believe it or not, shocked this was allowed to happen. 3-on-3. We see Gretzky and Curry split up for the first two shifts. Could you believe it? Adam Lowry, Kyle Connor, and Neil Pionk start overtime. Mark Scheifele, Josh Morrissey, Cole Perfetti go out next. Were you stunned to see it is possible for Gretzky and Curry to get on the ice without each other and still have opportunities to win the game for the Winnipeg Jets?
So nobody asked Scott Arniel about this in the postgame, so we don't have an answer from Scotty yet. But I guarantee once somebody does ask him, we're going to find out that Scheifele's skate was broken, or there was something wrong with his glove, or we're going to find out that it actually had nothing to do with them playing a part, and it was just going to be that they had to get three people out on the ice. I can hear it, I can smell it, it's coming a mile away. So at first I was like, wait, hold on, am I seeing the numbers wrong? I was kind of looking, but I guarantee it's coming. We're going to ask him, and he's going to tell us that, oh yeah, no, Scheifele had an issue with his skate, so Laus took the first shot.
I was just happy to see it, man. I didn't even know it was allowed. So for us to see two shifts exist without the NHL arena, it's happening, blowing up or something, I'm stunned. And the Jets actually had chances on those shifts to win the hockey game. I can't believe it. Whew. Something to consider here, folks, when it comes to Gretzky and Curry.
Look, we'll know more if Arniel gets canned between now and the Vegas game.
Speaking of Lowry being out there in OT, he gets off the 24-game schneid with a real nice goal and effort from everybody on that line. Adam Lowry takes the puck up, skates through the neutral zone, gets over the zone, and the D bats the puck away. Cole Perfetti coming up the ice, supporting him nicely, where if he loses the puck, he could pick it up, which is exactly what happens. And he finds Gabe Vilardi all the way to his right by himself. The D has to adjust. Adam Lowry skates far post. Gabe Vilardi, tic-tac-toe, right on Lowry's stick. Goalless streak's over. We've been talking about that group, and it continues to build something. I think it's been their most consistent line for the Winnipeg Jets for some time.
Yep.
And the shooting talent just doesn't get them over. You see Cole Perfetti not once but twice beat the goalie today, but ring them off the bar. What'd you see from that line today? Would you think of Lowry getting off the snide with a goal that all three guys contribute with? What'd you see from that group tonight?
Yeah, Lowry's fifth goal of the season, first since January. It's got to feel good for him, right? Hopefully that'll help him. Right, since January. That's tough. So, I'm sure he's real thrilled about that. And yeah, that line continues to just churn out good minutes every time they're out on the ice right now. Perfetti's in another level. He had the 2 posts today. It seems like he's getting at least, one game every week where he's, knocking it off the post once or twice. So they're getting the opportunities. They're in all the right spots. If they only had a shooter on that line, they'd, be absolutely kind of fun to watch. The fact that they're working well together as a trio, again, is great. That's what you would want to see them be able to do against a bad Rangers team. If we were talking about them getting outplayed today, it'd be a real worry.
Yeah. No, just good to see.
Yep.
They had one go the other way as well, but we've been talking about how that line has been doing so many things well and just not getting on the board. And then for them to put on a bit of a tic-tac-toe Harlem Globetrotters play with it leading to the captain breaking a streak. Just wanted to point that out. It was nice to see.
I still stare at that line sometimes and wonder, and I'm probably insane for wondering. Well, no, not that. The Kyle Connor thing for sure. But the other wonder I still have when I look at that line is if the Jets gave up too early on Cole Perfetti at center. I think about it every once in a while. I would still like to get a look at it in the off season at a training camp or something, maybe under a different coaching staff in the future if that ends up coming through. I just feel like he could be an option there, and we gave up on it way too quick. But again, that's neither here nor there right now.
2 games, baby. Draft him 10th overall to get
right?
2 games.
2 games out of it, and I don't know. Yeah.
Al Camino points out Lowry not scoring for 30 games after January. I'm shocked. 24.
Yep.
24. Not that that's much better.
Nope.
And says real second-line centers don't go through 20-game goal droughts regularly. And the center conversation will continue to be a conversation in Winnipeg that holds them back as things move forward here.
Yep.
Ryland says, thank God we didn't trade Perfetti while he was recovering from that high ankle sprain. Well, we'll see about that conversation this summer. I'm not quite there. Archivist Athletica also points out both Perfetti and Velarde were drafted as centermen. I wonder if either of them could play there. We don't really know, which says something.
We dabbled Velarde a couple times in the past. I don't remember, was that 2 years ago, 2.5, whatever that was. They've tried Velarde once or twice as a centerman. I just don't think it for whatever reason just didn't work out.
Cole Billis asks, do you think Jaeger will be able to be that 2C? I don't think so. No. I think he's going to be at most a 3C in the NHL if he gets there, and it won't be next year.
And they may move him to the wing too. I could see it.
Yeah. As Norm says, every Jets first rounder is destined for 5 years with the Moose. Yeah. Let's get into the From Financial Faceoff. What was the difference on this 11 a.m. start between the Jets and the Rangers at MSG? What brought the Winnipeg Jets a shootout win? The playoffs are here after a shootout win over the New York Rangers. Let's hear it. Let's get into the From Financial Faceoff, and we'll be opening those phone lines. Dave, if you want to call back in here.
Let's hit it.
Thanks for calling the landing strip. You're on the air. What would you like to talk about?
Right on. 1-204-800-0409. 1-204-800-0409. You can give us a call. Get on the line. I've got Diamond Dave ready to go.
Let's go to Diamond Dave right off the bat.
All right.
Right
Diamond
off the bat,
Dave,
man.
thank you for coming on.
I'm a shortstop taking those singles, baby.
Let's do it.
That's what we like to
11
see.
a.m. Winnipeg time is 9 LA time.
Woo!
By the way.
Oh,
By the
early
way. So
morning
I was just
for
actually
you.
going to bed from last night.
How you doing, Dave?
And I want to I want to say, Nick, you look fantastic. You're a king of men right off the hop.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sitting there in my bathrobe watching the game, eating my Fruit Loops, and I'm thinking, if I'm Chevy, I'm looking at 2 President's Trophy winning teams, the creme de la creme, baby, right? And I'm thinking, if I want to be the best going into the next season, what am I doing this offseason? I'll tell you right now, I'm trading for JT Miller. He's got experience. He's got leadership. I'm thinking we could package Kevin He up with somebody else, just to get that guy. That's the direction I think this team should take, to take it over the edge.
You know what that would do to me if they were to trade for JT Miller this summer? If people think I'm insufferable now, a team with JT Miller, Mark Scheifele, and Kyle Connor as their 3 go-to guys would have me I'd be borderline psychotic on this nightly. I could not do it. That would be the end of me, man.
Remember Pierre-Luc PL's famous laugh shift with the Blue Jackets before we sent Liney that way. Remember how he's just like a ton of bricks, like
Yep.
just floating around? And Chevy looked at that and he's like, I want some of that. I want some of that.
And then he goes and gets the older version where JT Miller does that shit every 3 games as a captain of the New York Rangers. That's right up
Look,
Chevy's alley, actually.
We need a C, baby. We need a C. We need a 2C, baby. And we got depth now, right? So we got waves of lines, right? Waves of energy, right?
Oh, this would end me. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the landing strip if JT Miller was the big shot.
You
And talk about not learning.
But you wouldn't rule it out, though, either. You wouldn't rule it out, though, either.
I wouldn't.
Congrats on a great show. Congrats on a great life, my friend. Good job.
Hey, thank you. It's been nice to hear from you. Appreciate the call. Yeah, JT Miller, not the answer for the Winnipeg Jets this summer. Thankfully, I think he has a no-move clause. But that would, I think where Diamond Dave's going there, though, is something to think about here. That was the team. That was the President's Trophy team 2 years ago. They went and got their older 2C to fix things, and things are moving the other way. They bet on age. They bet on this fake idea. The one thing that drives me nuts about JT Miller, I watched a lot of them in Vancouver when we were doing Top Line Winnipeg with Carson. That guy does the PLD so often. And all you hear about him in the media and through hockey management and coaches is like, oh, this is a hard presence you need in your locker room. That guy quits so much. Do not go down the Rangers pathway when this is all said and done. Winnipeg, please, this should be your warning. Go look at what's happening with the team that won the President's Trophy the year before you in the New York Rangers. Let's not make those same mistakes.
I mean,
Mikey.
And we know that they're interested in that type of path. Look at the summer we just had, right? Look what they prioritized. Look at who they let walk. Look at who they decided would be good enough to replace those type of minutes. It's exactly in their wheelhouse to go out and add a JT Miller type player. So even if it's not Miller specifically, keep your eyes peeled for that type of guy out there because that does have Jets written all over it.
As Choices TK says, as a wise man once said, if JT Miller is the answer, what is the freaking question? Let's get into the Fraud Financial Face-Off, though. Mikey, what is yours on this afternoon affair between the Rangers and the Winnipeg Jets?
It's a real easy one. Not starting 2-0 down within the first 3 minutes of the game. It's crazy what you can do and accomplish when you're not starting behind the 8 ball every single time. So, yeah, just the fact that they were able to get up, they were awake for the start of this game, no brain farts in those first couple minutes, and they were actually to be the ones to open the scoring in this one, I think is a big contributor. I didn't want to go back to Eric Comry again, because I gave him my Tank Commander award, and we've talked about how incredible he was, and I think he was, the single biggest thing that made the Jets come out with 2 points today. But for my From Financial Face-Off, I'm going to go with, not starting, having a claw out of the hole.
Oh, I like that. It's a bit different. I got one that's going to go a little different than what we've seen as well. Over on YouTube, Rylan Medwick goes, the From Financial Face-Off is a movable object versus stoppable force. That being the Jets and the Rangers at home. What a snooze fest. Rihanna wants to shout out the Rangers rookie goalie because he held his own. He made some big saves himself there tonight.
Yep.
I did think the Winnipeg Jets were the better team for the bulk of this game, despite how well Comrie played. So Dylan Gerard, was it? Durand? Whatever it was. Came up, gave his team a chance to win in his first NHL start versus the Winnipeg Jets. I like that shout out from Rihanna.
Yep.
Rob Mahoney says, I'll probably get fired from the chat, but I still wish we had PLD.
Interesting.
It's an interesting takeaway. I don't know.
Over the pieces we have that we got from the trade?
That's an interesting debate.
Yep.
There is a debate to be had there.
I was kind of thinking about it with Trouba and Pionk right now.
Colin Hall says they should be all over McTavish, to be honest. That one seems to be a change of scenery coming out of Anaheim. Another healthy scratch this week for the centerman. Now, he hasn't been too hot in his career in Anaheim. It's an interesting one.
Yep.
Tikona Pauly points out the Rangers and Jets have many, many similarities. Radlin also said we would have to strip Lowry of the C and give it to Miller too.
Okay.
Tikona Pauly's from Financial Faceoff is goaltending. I'm going to go somewhere a little different. And their first chance at this side of the game did not go well today. The Winnipeg Jets power play has been pretty dog shit of late. In fact, we talked about this the last couple of games. It's been their PP2 that's even been getting them chances in zone time of late. The Kyle Connor drawn penalty, then they start PP2, and PP2 gets a few chances. Power play 1 gets out there, and we see them come together quick with Kyle Connor finding Gabe Velarde in the soft ice for a one-timer, net front, power play goal. We haven't been getting long, drawn-out, creative, successful zone time on the power play from the Winnipeg Jets. And on that power play, they get it from both units. They get on the board. And that is part of the difference of this game even making it to overtime with how much trouble this team has scoring at times. I'm going to go with the power play. Actually looking like an NHL quality power play for that one twirl at least.
Yep. Did you catch on the broadcast when they said the last time the Winnipeg Jets scored 2 power play goals in a game is?
No.
If you had to take a guess, when do you think the last time the Jets scored 2 power play goals?
It's got to be from the first half of this year. Like 3 months, 4 months?
January.
3 months almost.
Yep, almost 3 months ago. January was the last time they scored 2 power play goals in one game. Yeah, it's been a race between Lowry and the power play. Who's going to start producing first? I guess Lowry won.
There you go. Tikona Pauly, thank you for that. Says Nick was late last show. Congrats on the clean bill of health, buddy. Thank you, and I hope you're doing well. Colin Hall says the From Financial Faceoff is having a second defenseman that can skate the puck like Salo makes so much more difference to this old lethargic team. So we see Salo and Sandberg today, and we see Pionk Morrissey. And I thought both pairs in the top 4 were unbelievable. They both shifted the ice the other way. Now Salo and Sandberg get caught for that one goal against.
Yep.
But I did think this was another game from them where you're seeing most of their zone time come up in the O-zone. I thought Morrissey and Pionk, and I know how you feel about it. I feel the same way, but I think Pionk's come off this injury pretty damn strong.
Yes.
I thought him and Morrissey were, again, kind of what we were talking about. If you were going to see Morrissey and Pionk together, you wanted to see the O-zone starts. You wanted to see them get O-zone time together. There was a lot today where they'd get out there, especially with the top unit, and the puck would end up with Morrissey, and you see the forwards gravitate to Josh Morrissey. Why would you not gravitate to Josh Morrissey, right?
Yep.
Hell of a player, which has opened up shots from the point for Neil Pionk tonight. There's going to be some of what you saw towards the end of that game where Neil Pionk almost serves this game on a platter to the Rangers as well with a big defensive turnover. But I liked a lot of what you saw from both top 4 pairs. Not a great night from DeMello and Fleury. There's going to be some problems with that group. But on this night specifically, Neil Pionk in his 1943 at 5-on-5, 25-15 for the Winnipeg Jets in shot attempts, 1-0 in goals, 66.3% in the expected goals. Josh Morrissey in his 2 minutes plus, 24 shot attempts for, 15 against, 1-0 in goals, 67% on the expected goals. They got the big minutes tonight, and I thought they answered it really well. Really impressed with Pionk coming off the injury. And let's see what this top 4 could do down the stretch. I mean, you have a pretty flawed build to your roster when it comes to D-men right now. You can't trust DeMello in the top 4 right now. You want to see Salo still getting games besides Sandberg. Let's stick with this for the last or at least a few games here and see what kind of happens.
Yeah, if you can use Pionk in situational spots like this, where, lean on Pionk and Morrissey heavy early with offensive zone starts, try to get as many, minutes and as much production as you can there. And then if you need to start locking things down, right, then you can lean on the Sandberg-Salamonson pairing if that's going to be kind of your shutdown grouping. yeah, it can work, right? I'm more focused, like you said, on making sure that Salo keeps getting the development time, keep getting the minutes alongside Sandberg, learn how to play against, the other team's best players. That's what I, more focused on. And yeah, with Pionk, great first 2 games back. Offensively, that what you can get out of him that way. Morrissey is more than enough to be able to cover up for him. It does kind of dwarf Morrissey a little bit, but again, in a lost season, which this is, I don't mind Morrissey playing less minutes against less tough competition a little bit. If it's going to,
That's not how it went today, though.
No, it's not how it went today. But if that's the way that they can, start to get Salo and Sandberg, elevated and see what they have there, I think that would probably be the better way to do things going forward, so that you can play Pionk alongside Morrissey, let them have the secondary defensive matchups, so they're not having to take on as much of the top line from the other team. I think I'd be okay with that because, yeah, you're still going to be getting the chaos with Pionk. It's still going to happen, especially late in games. And if you can limit that where the minutes start to get limited late in games, I'd like to see that.
Yeah. Over in the chat on the topic, Rihanna says Pionk hasn't missed a beat in his first 2 games back. Archivist Athleticus says Pionk has looked okay the 2 games back. Might have been better next year. He tends to go good year, bad year, good year, bad year.
Hopefully then, yeah, that'd be good.
Cole Billis also points out it's 1-1 halfway through the Nashville-Chicago game. Would love a 3-point game.
Yep.
3-point game with Nashville winning. Probably ideal right now. The 1 point would work with Nashville when they have already the games played or the regulation wins.
Yep, I'll take either.
Either way, that could go. Silly Stall says, Nick, what does your hat say? I can't figure it out. It's a local brand called Voak, V-O-A-K. One of my buddies in the chat is big fan of their brand and tends to get me some stuff there. So it's a nice little hat. They do some good stuff.
Really nice, yeah.
Who knew we were giving out free shout-outs? What the hell, man? What the hell, Silly Stall? You're getting me in some trouble here. And I also got to shout this out from Silly Stall. I could see why me and him don't see eye to eye on virtually anything lately in these chat rooms. He says, to be honest, I didn't care if Ehlers leaves or not, but now I miss him. We could seriously use him. You think?
Yeah.
That was their best 5-on-5 forward as far as generating goal differential.
Yep.
That was a huge loss. It's a big reason why they find themselves where they are right now.
Massive.
With him right now, they're easily in a wild card spot.
Yep.
But they got Goose Nyquist, John Daves, and Cole Koepke instead.
Oh,
It
so much
is what it
experience.
is.
So much
It
experience.
is. David Short says, what does it mean to be a big fan of the brand? He's always buying me new hats when he's going, so he seems to be going there often, is what I would imagine. But he's a big fan of the brand. What else did we see, Mikey? Anything stand out post-game from this game? Another look at the kid line, maybe not their best night
Yeah.
on the back-to-back. Probably the one line that didn't get a whole lot of traction in their minutes tonight.
Yep.
To be expected. We're going to see ups. We're going to see downs.
Yep, you're going to have those type of games, especially on the road where the other team has last change, right? They're going to try to capitalize on 2 guys that, one is brand new with the team. The other is fairly, new in terms of like his NHL career. 2 of them are, right? So, yeah, you're going to have those type of games on the road sometimes when the matchups aren't going to be in their favor. But I didn't see anything super egregious from them today that, again, is going to make me worry about them long term or anything like that. I feel like it's just one of those games from the kids.
Just keep it rolling. It's the back-to-back. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Second half of a back-to-back. Your development isn't linear, right? It's not linear. You're not always just going to be going on an up, up, up. Some games are going to be down. Some will be up. They have to be able to have down games without it being the end of the world. It can't be that they're living and dying by every single shift, every single game, having to be perfect and better. And, I feel like a lot of that is what stunted the timing with Brad Lambert a little bit, that he was just continually worried that one mistake means you're back down with the Moose and you're going to have to wait for another 4 guys to get injured before you see, an opportunity at the lineup again. I feel like those type of things start to creep in, which is why we've heard some rumblings of there's no path to the Jets lineup without injuries stuff. Because once you do get a shot there sometimes, one mistake and all of a sudden everybody's like, they're not ready. Send them back down. What are we doing? So it just, you're going to have games where it's not their absolute best performance, but I feel like they need to have those games and not have it be the end of the world.
As Colin Hall says, not a grand night for the kid line, but they weren't bad. They were just there.
Yeah.
Which is probably a fair way to put it. It's not like they negatively impacted the team. I just didn't get the wow and pizzazz like we did last game,
Agreed.
which is going to come and go. Sebastian Hadiak says, what do you guys think about a potential Carson Carroll's pick at 6 to 8? I'd rather not end up with a left-handed defenseman. Could be a good story. And the later you get into the first round, it's likely going to make more sense. But I'd rather one of the forwards if we can get there.
Yep.
It's going to depend where this falls. It's looking like 5 to 7 after today is where I would kind of handicap this at.
Yep.
Not ideal.
No, and if we
Let's get some lottery luck.
right,
What do you think Tuesday? They're going to be playing the Vegas Golden Knights back at home. 12 games to go. 2 fraudulent teams going at it. The Winnipeg Jets squeak over 500. Currently 29, 29, and 12. Do they sneak over 500 for the first time in how long has it been this year since they've gone over that line?
oof, I can't remember the last
do
time.
they sneak into OT with a loss, or do they lose in regulation? How are you feeling about Tuesday versus the fraudulent Vegas Golden Knights?
That's going to be an interesting one to see who actually shows up for that one. I'm guessing it's going to be Vegas. That's kind of my feeling on it. That screams like one of the games where the Jets, find one of their creative ways to lose it late, kind of thing. But I've got a weird feeling that's a Vegas regulation win.
Did I catch you cheating the Sims on my screen? Holy smokes! What's going on over there? I think they sneak over 500 on Tuesday.
Yeah, you think they're going to get
And
that
then
one?
everyone gets excited about the playoffs.
Yep.
And then Colorado comes and puts an end to that.
Yep, could be.
Some more things to point out on the playoff race. LA and Nashville still have 2 games against each other. Nashville and San Jose have 3 games. 3 games left against each other.
Yep.
Those teams are going to have to win. Someone's going to have to win those games. That plays into the math that we're trying to figure out here.
Yep. The Blues don't even get even with the Jets in terms of games played until March 30th.
Ooh.
So it's they have a game in hand with the Jets the entire way for another week still after this week. So it's gonna be right down to the nitty gritty in terms of which spot the Jets end up finishing in, whether that's 7th from the bottom, 6th from the bottom, 5th from the bottom. In one of those spots, it's all gonna come down to these last few games.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Feels dirty wanting the Blues to win hockey games, I gotta say, but
yeah, it's gross.
Over on YouTube, T. Conapoli mentions he went to Brandon and saw Carroll's a few weeks back, and he had quite the game. Colin Hall says Mal Haltro is my guy first and foremost. Cole Billis says 2-1 Chicago, so Chicago just went up in that game. Things get interesting, I guess, if Nashville blows that in regulation. Rob Mahoney says coach has adapted to the new reality. Every game here on out could realistically go to OT. Grind out a point is the new motto. They've definitely, since the Olympic break, adapted, and they're playing not to lose rather than to play to win. Even the other day when I took my brother to the last game on the Homestead there, when they got up early, first thing my brother says is, don't tell me you're playing the trap in the first. And I think that plays into why it's 8 loser points in the last 13 games that they've guaranteed themselves, something like that.
Yep, something like that.
They have definitely adapted to just try and grind their way to some points here on this attempted miracle run.
Well, that's the beauty of the loser point, right? It creates this false parity within the league. And the math checks out on it every year. Again, it makes it look like, maybe they're in this. Maybe, they're here. They're up 1, down 1, up 1, down 1. And then, you get to the end of the season once all the games and everything have evened out. And you're like, oh, no, they finished where their points percentage had been at all year at like a 493. And, they're going to finish with like whatever, 80 points. It's one of those kind of, I understand why people get so upset at the point system in the NHL and wanting to, either go to an all games are worth 3 or whatever your preferred method of change-up is. I understand why people get to that point sometimes because, you get to a spot like this and you're like, oh, is it? But that's why they have it. That's why the NHL put this system in so that you could have this type of false parity and make things interesting late.
No, for sure. I would love 3-point regulation wins and 2-point OT wins, 1 point OT losses. I think it makes too much sense
I agree.
when you look at competitive nature of it all. But that's never coming under the old Gary Bettman. So Norm asks us, before we get into the 3 stars, can we vote Arneal for Coach of the Year? Don't think that one's coming. Let's get into the 3 stars. Let's get into a Tankathon sim. And let's get out of here on this Sunday afternoon, as I'm sure all of us have much more exciting things than us trying to break down math in the standings here.
Let's hit it.
3 stars, who you got?
Right on.
I'll let you start, buddy. Who do you guys your 3 stars tonight?
So for my 3 stars, third star, I'm going to go with, even though they didn't score tonight, I'm going to go with the Cole Perfetti line. Just Perfetti, Gabe, and Lowry. I just like what they've been able to do this last little while together. They're in the right spots consistently. Perfetti's hitting iron constantly. It's just been nice to see as a progression. So I'm going to give that line my 3rd star. Second star, I'll give it up to the first line tonight because they did everything except for score. They controlled their minutes. They controlled the shot attempts. They got the expected goals. They were good against a bad team. And number 1 star is Eric Comrie. No question about it. He kept the Jets in that one, even though they like you said, they controlled play for a lot of it, but without some of those big saves from Comrie, they could have still ended up losing that game because of how good Garand was on the other side. So yeah, Comrie number 1 for me.
I'm going to go 3rd star, Gabe Velarde, multi-point game, and caps it off with the shootout winner. 2nd star, I'm going to go Eric Comrie, who looks absolutely locked in. Like, if he started playing more in this rotation, it's definitely deserved. With you look at his last 6 games,
Yep,
tracking the plays well.
and aggressive.
White Cage is a weapon. And then I'm going to go 1st star, the goaltender. Over on the other side, Dylan Girard and his debut faced a lot of rubber. Nearly helps bump up a miserable 375 points percentage from the Rangers at home this year. We're going to give out the kid. We'll get the 1st star today.
Hell yeah.
As I see, Tico Napoli has the Ranger Tendy, Comrie, and Perfetti. Rihanna has the Lows line, the top line, and goaltending for this one. Before we get into the tank sim, let's put this into context one more time because I've been doing math in my head trying to figure it out. Over on hockeystats.com, Nashville is currently pacing 87 points, and they're projected to end there based on their schedule. LA is pacing 86, but projected to hit 88. They don't have a single tough matchup left on their schedule, though they've been limping along. Let's say it's 87 points. The Jets would need to get 18 to get there and beat Nashville because Nashville currently has the regulation wins on them. You're talking about 18 out of 24 remaining points. This is the type of uphill climb we're realistically talking about if you want to talk about playoffs. If you got to hit 88 out of 24.
You need 9 wins essentially in this next stretch of 12 games. At
9
no point
wins
have the
or-
Jets been 9 wins in 12 games good at 0 points this season. So they would have to do something that they
Have to
haven't been
piling
able
up
to
the
do
loser
the whole
points.
way through. Even with a bunch of loser points tied in there, it's just not realistic.
Even at 16, let's say they keep this miserable race keeps trucking along. 16 out of 24, a 666. They'd have to go 2/3.
Yeah.
They haven't done that all year.
No.
They're a 500 team.
At best,
This is the type
this
of
is the first time
climb
they've been
we're talking
500
about.
in weeks.
This is the type of climb we're talking about in 12 games.
Yeah.
And needing 4 teams to fall on their face.
Yes, and again, that is if all those teams, if no one else, plays a single game better than what they're doing right now. Right? It's just they don't control their own destiny. It's
Norm says, relying on your backup goalie to save your ass, priceless. Auntie Kona calls that math a piece of cake, LOL. Let's get in to the tank sim and move on with our weekends here. Where are we going to land on the old simulation? on this Friday or Sunday afternoon.
As if there's any old heads in there, it's as Rick Ralph used to say, it's maritime math. You know, that's what'll get the Jets there. All right, let's hit this in 3, 2, 1. Nope, we do not move. We are 7th. St. Louis and the New York Rangers move up. St. Louis number 1, Rangers number 2.
Don't like that. Don't like that. To answer Cole Billis' question, is there anyone currently projected above us, expected to end up below us? Currently, projections, no, but we would be tied. Using projections, we would be tied at 83 with Seattle and Toronto. So regulation wins would come into seeding there.
82.
St. Louis.
If we're 500?
No, 83. Based on projecting out the current schedule, where the model
with the
has
gotcha.
the Jets
Yes,
finishing
sorry,
up.
understood.
St. Louis is projected at 82, so like they'll be right in that mix as well. It'll be a tiebreaker kind of setting up the lottery odds. No one projected to finish below us right now, or no one below us is projected to finish higher right now, and no one above is really projected to finish lower.
No.
This is the type of range, 5 to 7, 5 to 8. That is probably what we're going to be talking about, and each little point will depend and matter for that final lottery day.
Yep.
So, we'll see where this goes. We got as Ticona says, and we got to fuck Toronto out of the top 5. LOL. Lots of scoreboard watching to do for all the wrong reasons the rest of the way here. Chicago, 2-1, 2 minutes left in the second over Nashville. We'll see where that one goes. That will change the outlook on this. We will see you after Tuesday's game against the fraudulent Vegas Golden Knights. We'll talk to you then.
Right on. Good night, everybody.